Well, hello there, this is Ash, also known as Super da Hora, and I will be making a guide series for Ashita No Joe's PS2 video game. What is to note is that I will go over the basics of the game, and eventually I will get to the more advanced strategies and gameplay nuances. Now, this is not to say that a beginner will not benefit from these guides. As a matter of fact, I am designing these guides around the idea of beginners wanting to pick up the game. And I assure you that, at whatever level you are at the game, you will learn something new from this series. For this episode, we will go over the basic mechanics of Ashita No Joe. We will go over the basic punches, movement, and defense mechanics. So lace up, we're gonna start with the basic punches. And for starters, we have the jab. The jab is by far the most important punch. It is your fastest, is pretty amazing at spacing, and can keep your opponent at bay. Another great thing from the jab is its block breaking capacity. Any punch, when hit 5 times on the opponent's guard, will break it, and the jab, being the fastest, can abuse this pretty well. Another great aspect from the jab is the corner pressure. Watch as how I can beat most of Danpei's options with the jab alone, as it is much faster. Pretty consistently, I'm landing these counters. Sometimes he may still clip through with his own jab, but it's still very effective. And up next we have the straights. The straights are kinda like the power jabs of this game. You can outrange the guys with it pretty consistently, and it opens for combos, although it is much slower and can leave you open sometimes. It's a pretty good sniping punch. And up next, we have the body blows. The body blows are a great punch for starting combos and are pretty fast. They deal a good chunk of damage too and have a pretty good range. Also hard to dodge and possible to duck. This game also has directional inputs for the punches, and it will add the most important parts of your arsenal. Let's go over them. If you throw a body blow while going forwards, you will throw a head uppercut instead. This punch is tremendously strong and is your B&B for damage. Now, if we go back just a little bit to the straight punches, if you do them while going forwards, you do a hook with either hand. These are a tad bit faster than the uppercuts, so they work well as combo starters and as block pressure. And also a bit longer, I think, than the uppercuts. So in a PvP scene where both guys are trying to spam uppercuts, maybe you can win the exchange by throwing a hook instead. So that was a good little rundown on the offense aspects of this game, but let's get to movement and defense now. A very huge tool in this game's neutral is dashing. You can dash by double tapping any direction, and it's very useful for corner carry. Also very useful for spacing and also for dodging hits. I'm gonna show you now with Danpei. See, he will try to uppercut me and I can sidestep every single one of his blows. And this is amazing to set up counters too. Now blocking. To block you hold L2 and to block low you hold L2 plus down. This is very useful for basic defense, but as said previously, you can only block up to 5 hits from any kind, including supers though. More on that later. And head movement. Head movement is performed by pressing R2 into any direction, and depending on the direction you're walking to, is the type of dodge your character will perform. You got slips, ducks, and depending on your animation, you can press a button and your character will do a punch afterwards. For example, you can do a sway back straight, a duck straight, a duck uppercut, a sway back uppercut, and really many others. You can really try to experiment with this one, though to be fair, the best one is the duck uppercut, so abuse that. Now to add a bit more flair to your game, we head to the supers. Supers are an individual action that every character in the game can perform, except for Joe 1, that leads to a super knockdown, as opposed to a regular knockdown. A regular knockdown is occurred when you get comboed and your character falls. It usually is easy to get up from, but a super knockdown is much heavier and much harder to get up from. to perform these, there are multiple occasions depending on your character. So for starters, we have the counter supers, as the name suggests. Well, it is a counter super. You press the super button, which is R1, and once hit, I believe this is frame 1 by the way, once hit, you perform your super action and put the other guy down. These are very tough to beat, especially against players. Now strike supers. Strike supers, as the name suggests, are performed by pressing the R1 button with a heat bar, and then the cutscene happens after a strike. For example, this super right here can only be performed with the use of the ropes, so Rikishi needs to corner a guy before doing it. Some characters have other conditions like having their backs to the ropes, though most of the roster can just do it whatever they want. Now, at first, they may seem a little bit hard to land, and they are, but there are some more techs to land it that we will go over in future installments of this series. So that about does it. This video is gonna be a little bit longer than the other follow-ups, because I'm really teaching the basics and going over the stuff, but for the others I'm gonna focus more on specific tech. For the next episode, we will go over the stances and maybe some other stuff. Now, this is a very niche game, but I feel compelled to do these guides because I really want to see more people running it. As niche as this game is, I have fun speedrunning it, and I really wish to share this joy with others. So this does it for Ringside. This is your host, Pure White Ash, also known as Super Daughter, wishing you a great day.